I thought you was going to start using your vape. I was like, I need to order one. CBD.
That would have been hilarious. I don't have one. That's why it would be funny.
Ah, I see. Got my pineapple juice.
I have tea today.
Mm.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're gathered here today. No one's bad. I'm just joking. I'm just clowning. I joke around with you too much.
I know.
Astro world who get to enjoy, not even astro enthusiasts, anyone who enjoys astrology, curious about astrology. We're about to introduce ourselves. It is 7:52 p.m. in my Virgo voice, straight from East London. My name is Ekor, man of the houses, and I'm chatting to a lovely who's going to introduce herself right now.
I'm Melissa, and I'm in Colorado.
Shout out to Colorado. How's it?
Yes.
All good?
It's good. Weather's been good. Been really warm, and then we just get random hits of snow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
What do you want to know? What do you want to know about me? I love astrology. I love spirituality. And I love helping people.
That's what's up.
Yep.
Yeah. I love the high meaning and the unconventional, or what's deemed an outcast. So astrology just seems to be the perfect match for me. And here
100%. Yep.
So I see you got some nice books in the background. I'm not going to pick your brain about every single one of them, but
you probably have half of them. You probably have all of them.
I've got a few. I just don't have it in the background like most scholars. You know, that's the whole scholar vibe. But you just see half the Adinkra symbols. I don't know if the screen can fit them in, but just a few Adinkra symbols hailing from Ghana. So, you know, that's all. But so we're going to do this, not even this, just a conversation really. This is what we enjoy doing, and talking about things such as astrology and an area of experience that goes by the name of the ninth house. Sound good?
I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited that you asked me to do the ninth house because I'm the queen of the ninth house.
Queen of the ninth.
Did you know?
Yeah, you give off ninth house vibes.
Okay.
You've got those Buddha's daughter vibes. Yeah, Buddha's daughter. How does that sound for a nickname, for an alias? Yeah?
I like that.
Yeah. So what I usually do with houses or areas of development in the zodiac, I usually run with a certain mantra or a motto, and then the ruling planet, the corresponding element, and the sign that it shares themes with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
good.
We're coming from the murky depths, the deep penetrative depths, the instinctual, side of life that that seventh natives are sometimes scared to confront. The eighth house, coming from that up into the open of the ninth. So
yeah, it's a journey.
It's a journey, and from what I've learned, the motto for that house is "I believe."
Mm-hmm.
And shares themes with Sagittarius, the ninth sign, and its ruling planet Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
And tying into the masculine element, fire. And yeah, that's a little about the ninth house. I mean, you know, all 12 houses would share themes with the 12 signs. To those that are new, basically indicate an area of experience, also a pillar of development that benefits the whole psyche. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like the transit or the transfer, the journey from the eighth house to the ninth house is a big one. It's like you're in the sewer, everything's dark,
Mm.
everything's so deep.
Yeah.
And then you pop out into the ninth house and things have meaning, and it's like you hit the sunshine.
I like that you've hit one of the buzzwords already. I love buzzwords because if you were to do a brainstorm and tie in the houses or signs or planets or aspects, that would definitely be one of the words that would pop up, the meaning. And there's quite a few others as well, you know, the expansive worldview, there's the publishing, there's my part, your part in God's plan, personal image of God, or God's plan for you. So much more, you know, just basically law, even the Akashic records, you know, the Akashic records, when dealing with the right side of the brain, where Mercury in the third house are dealing with the puzzle and concrete thinking, we're coming to things such as the all-seeing eye. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, it means that. You, funny enough, you outdo me on my post quite a bit. I've noticed that, you know.
What?
So, you know, when I did the post on the Aries. And
it's a good one.
How the glyph looks like, it can look like a human's outstretched arms.
Yes.
You basically said it also looks like the womb as well, which
yes.
obviously very fitting with Aries as it ties into the genesis of physical life. And Aries being the first. And you having strong ninth house overtones yourself. I hope you don't mind me.
No, you can expose my whole chart. I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, so I found that really insightful. I liked how you looked at it, you know. So, and that's the ninth house has a certain kind of prowess with breaking down symbols or basically piecing together patterns and symbols on the right side of the brain. So whilst everyone is all thinking, the ninth house, it shares themes with Sagittarius, as in foreign travel, foreigners, and just long haul flights and journeys. No, it's a bit deeper. Ninth house is deep. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, in the ninth house, that's where you start connecting all the dots for sure. And you can't understand the ninth house without understanding the third. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Polarities.
Yeah.
And I was touching down on this a little bit earlier about how relationship is so important. Relationship is a key word in astrology, and it's like you can't really work with one sign, one element, one part of a interaction without the other. There's always going to be an interaction. You know, there's always, even if there isn't a planetary conversation, for example, two planets opposite each other or fused directly with each other, you've also got, in more complex matters, the houses. So let's say, for example, me, I've got, just remembering my chart again.
Did me help you out?
I
think I have it around here somewhere.
So I've got Libra on the cusp of my fifth house. Yeah. Now let's say if I didn't have a planet in there, there's also a sort of relationship with the door, Libra being on the cusp of the fifth house, because to those that are new, translating that starry language, what that would basically imply is that Libra is the approach and also the description of the activities that go on in that area of life development.
Yeah, so, like you said, it's the door. Did you say that, or I was thinking?
Yeah, the door. Okay. The door. Yeah, absolutely. The door to the house, literally. And if there wasn't any planets in there, or what we call untenanted houses, we could basically say, okay, where's the planetary ruler? The planet that rules the sign of that door to the house. You know, Venus. Okay, Venus is over there. That in itself is a relationship. So there's relationships in so many ways. So that's just
it's my favorite part, and it's probably because I'm so ninth house. I love tracking. I love tracking the themes.
Yeah.
And I can't understand it unless I track it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Have you got any planets in the third house?
Third? No. I have Cancer there.
Cancer on the cusp. Okay.
So then we go and we look to the moon.
Exactly.
It's like chasing these motherfuckers around.
I love it. It's nice though. I just look at it as a puzzle. You know, there's a big Gemini part of me that just loves the puzzle to it all. So I think what helps as well is the myths and examples. Me, what I like to do, I like to basically see which character from a film that I know or a myth that I may have heard of, to correlate it to get a better understanding, higher meaning of the house of the higher meaning itself. You know, so
oh my God, I do it every day. I can't have a conversation with a stranger without thinking what their ascendant might be because they look a certain way or they speak a certain way. So I'm constantly, you know, it's like once you dive into astrology, you can't go back. You can't not connect it with everything.
Can't unsee what you see now.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think makes the ninth house so much indifferent from the others, so bespoke from the others? Do you think it's a slept on house, or
see, this will be interesting to get your opinion about my opinion, because I tend, like, the way I pull this all together, I tend to put the ninth house, Jupiter, and Sagittarius all together. It's like a soup. I blend it all together when I'm talking about the ninth house.
Yeah.
So I may not be exactly correct, but I feel like it's that higher meaning, and it's absolutely necessary to dive into that portion of the chart, and to that portion of your psyche to create the life that you came here to live.
Love that.
And I don't know, is that ninth house?
Absolutely.
I think that's all of it.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely. I think it's very important because it kind of shares approaches of Aquarius as well, in a sense of, I've got a few quotes that tie to the ninth house as well. For example, inquiring minds want to know. Now, I say that to say this, it's like we all have our preconditioned models, what we've been taught, from law to philosophy, certain facets of life, religion especially. Religion's a big part of the ninth house. And you've got the gospel, you've got the Bible, you've got the Quran, you've got the Torah, so many books on spirituality as well. Now, do we just say, yes, I agree, and that's what I'm going to follow? Do we look at a higher meaning? Looking for a higher truth, or do we have our personal, what it means to us part of it? Is it like a fingerprint perception of beliefs and philosophies and religion? So I feel that the personal God is a big ninth house giveaway to successfully navigating that pillar of development.
And so I just made a video on this, or I touched base on it. The Aries concept. I'm getting random here, but the Aries concept, it's like the soul moves into the body, the soul clicks into the body.
Yeah.
And then I went in to talk about the God concept. When we're little, we're just taught that God's on the outside of us.
Yeah.
And we have to obey him. And we have to abide by him. And we have to do all the things that are good to be as holy as possible in his eyes. And it's backwards. I mean, I'm not saying that the people who believe that are wrong, but the depth of it, at least in my experience, is that God is inside of me, And so it just gives another layer of that ninth house. And so it's a whole, like the ninth house is a whole journey within itself, just because of the God concept.
Absolutely. It's interesting because it ties in with the as above, so below, as within, so without. And, you know, sometimes we spend so much time looking out for what's inside. They say like we've got an inner cosmos and everything, but it's that awkward moment because you're dealing with the personification of the supreme being, the creator. And for you to say like, if I went around just saying, hey, you know, I got God in me, I'm God, they'll be like, you better watch your mouth and you might get your ass kicked down the stairs or something.
I know,
You know what I mean?
because through their perception, that sounds crazy. And that sounds egotistical.
Absolutely.
But it's not, at least where I'm coming from. Check me if I'm wrong.
No, exactly. You see a lot of backed up quotes and everything, and a much higher view, expansive. I mean, Jupiter, that's what Jupiter did, you know, Zeus, it was just see the expansive view. So yeah,
and that expansive view is so necessary in holding a vision of the life you want.
absolutely.
I don't know, I feel like I'm not into being a victim to like narrow-mindedness.
There you go. That's all you non-ninth houses, you've been warned, you know.
I know. And I think a lot of times people get annoyed. They're like, oh God, she's so optimistic. Even those people that know I have problems, and I fully state what they are when they come up, but I still go back to the faith. I always have faith that life is working out for me and God wants me to be happy.
Love it. And that whole involvement, or as you said in one of your stories, participation. And I thought we had a synchronized moment because I thought of participation the other day. So it's like, if I had to say one word to assign to astrology, participation.
Hell yeah. And until you get that, you're just following someone else's words and you're not going to get it.
There you go. Ninth house done. But that's it. And that involvement of God or the Most High, the Creator, a larger, whatever you want to call that supreme being, that involvement is going nowhere, right?
Right. Because it's a relationship and a magnetism. It's that whole bridegroom thing that we learned about, and we were like, what the fuck does that mean? You probably knew. You were very in touch with the religion on a higher level. You came in like that. Yeah. With Sagittarius South Node. Right? Do you agree?
Born Catholic as well, yeah. Okay. And past life wise, I like to subscribe to the fact that I had a past life and you know, there was some religious or spiritual connotations. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what thread I was getting off on with that one, but.
What would you say, what is on the cusp of your ninth house? What is to step away from doing all the jargon and starry language, what is your style to navigating the ninth house?
It's that's a good question. What's my style?
Yeah, so if I were to translate that obviously to you, you know, that's just basically what's on the cusp of your ninth house.
I take it seriously.
Yeah, I can tell. Oh, I wonder what sign that could be.
It's my life's work. Yeah. Someone guess what is on the cusp of my ninth house? Capricorn. So serious.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to do any work like a 9 to 5 without spirituality. I mean, I can infuse it, of course, because I am me. Yeah. But okay. I really love doing work in the world for others, serving myself and others. In that ninth house arena. If I'm not doing it, I feel really blah.
I love that. It's interesting because I've got planets in the sixth house, which is also a house of service as well. But there's something different between those two. Interestingly enough, put them two together, relationship-wise again, this isn't written down or nothing, but put them together, you get the 6 and the 9, 6, 9, yin yang, and they're both helpful teachers in different ways. There's the Mercury way and there's the Jupiter way. But Virgo is quite minuscule in comparison. Is very microscopial.
And that's a paradox, because we're living our life, and if you have any concept of having a vision and also doing what's right in front of you, you have to do what's right in front of you in order to move closer to your vision.
Yes.
So they work together.
They do.
I like that thought.
I'll tell you why. Because so I have Aquarius on the sign on the cusp of the ninth house, which basically means I have an Aquarian approach to navigating this area of life that pertains to all the activities to do with, shares themes of Jupiter, Sagittarius, and the mutable fire element. Yeah. Now, with Aquarius being on the cusp, or that style of approach, it basically implies that there's an interest in the unusual. Studies as well, higher education. So, what I learned at university was not common like other people. And then going to London School of Astrology, that's Aquarian as well. And also just being interested in astrology itself. But then here's where the beat drops between the correlation between the ninth and the sixth house. The ruler, or the traditional ruler of that ninth house, is in the sixth house. I've got Uranus in the sixth house tying into my Mars as well. So,
so it's like a mutual reception. So there's like a blend and a flow between the two.
Yeah, what it is that the sign on the cusp will basically show the approach or the activities that go on, but the ruler will show more information, factual information, and it's that studying or teaching or guru that I do is unconventional. And Uranus, astrology comes under the Uranus umbrella. It's just got to be something for the wider collective. I know what I'm here to do. Similarly to you, for the wider collective. It's just a bit strange because I'm coming from the pit. I'm coming from the pit of the horoscope. The IC, the fourth house, sharing themes of Cancer, which is real deep, not born around midnight. So I'm stepping into the light. It takes a while. And if some Cancerians or water signs, they're not so forthright to go to the middle of the dance floor. They might just cut through from the corners gradually. Eventually they'll get to the center of the dance floor. They'll be like, oh, there he is. So yeah, that's me in a way. I'm coming out of that dark pit, coming into the light to basically spread awareness and get people to participate and how to use this form of diagnostic to bring about some healing with themselves and clear away what seems like chaos in their life.
Yeah. Well, Cancer is such a vulnerable sign too, just in the way Cancer can feel so much. And there's so much going on. The world is so busy.
Yeah.
So of course a Cancer would rather, hermit down and just do the depth instead of be out. You just feel a lot. Yeah.
Be private. Yeah.
Private about it.
Yeah.
But the cool thing with bringing your light to the world, like more publicly, is that you have a depth that not everyone has.
Absolutely.
So that gets to shine too.
Hell yeah.
but like you said, it takes longer.
It does.
Getting off track a little bit, my 4th house, Leo, I've not always been very comfortable, even though I have a 9th house sun. I've not always been comfortable showing myself. And I wonder if there's some sort of connection because the Leo's down at the bottom.
Absolutely. Looking from an evolutionary standpoint, especially wherever there's prominent Leo, that's got to be taken into consideration. And the 5th house as well.
All right, yeah.
The sun, where Leo is, and the 5th house, absolutely, for that self-actualization, you know?
Yeah, the Virgo moon, it's like we just like to be behind the scenes doing, like, basically running the show behind the scenes.
Doing it well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking on shining and the sun in the 9th house is juicy, especially with the sun tying into the core mission or central themes of development of the self, you know, that process of development. How do you feel that part of the psyche, the sun, how does it benefit the sun doing work experience in the 9th house for the sake of the greater psyche?
Well, I feel like any theme of the house that your sun is in will light your sun up even more. So it benefits my sun tremendously to do 9th house work, whether it's astrology or finding higher meaning or finding God, all of that. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that too.
But here's an interesting thing. My sun is also conjunct Jupiter. So I get like an extra blast of this whole 9th house situation. And I can't help but be like, I must share this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can't be quiet for too long.
No. I think that's a nice student teacher kind of tying into that relationship word again, you know. Maybe the more you teach, the better student you become of life, because
100%. Yes. That happens.
I feel it's so important to keep it moving with regards to Sagittarian energy in the 9th house. Otherwise, there will be drudgery. You will not get to encounter people's models, see where people are at with their models of mindsets, unless you know, you're on a mission, you're on a journey, you know, you're on that nomad journey, just exploring people's mindsets, you know.
Yes.
But if you just know one person, it's sort of like you just know one mindset, I guess.
Yes.
So the movement is so important. But yeah, the student teacher, you know, the more you teach, the more you put yourself out to, you might get more questions and find out the mindset of that person, go back to the drawing board. I do that. But then also conversely, it's like the more you study as well, naturally, the more progressive your teaching becomes.
Yeah, it's very connected. I was just thinking as you were talking, even just doing an astrology reading, who becomes attracted to me, like whoever that is on the other side, they're bringing stuff that I'm already working on. And so it ends up even though they're paying me to give them guidance and to point them back to themselves, I still learn something from it. I don't know if it's because I look at life as a school, like everything is teaching me something.
Oh yeah, same
But
here.
when you come in contact with another person, you can't help but to learn from them, even if it's a trigger.
Each one teach one, right?
Yeah. So it definitely, it deepens that student-teacher experience.
You see, so already you basically give off that you have a humble approach when it comes to the 9th house, and being well educated and also a scholar as well and a teacher, you know, that guru energy, very humble, because like you said, you're still willing to learn. I love that. I love that you can learn off people.
Yeah, because the truth is, like, going into that humble side, the truth is you're your own guru. And if you're selling readings and if you're putting yourself out there as a coach that knows it all, you're not being authentic and working with integrity. There's my Capricorn.
Absolutely.
The truth is, we're always, all of us are pointing the other person back to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just a couple steps ahead of the people who are attracted to us.
Hell yeah. And I love that you said Capricorn at the end. And I don't love everything before people start getting it twisted. But like, just imagine if that Sun-Jupiter fusion, or the merge of those two planets of the psyche, those parts of the psyche, what they embody. Just imagine if that was in the style of Aries or in the style of Leo. Would it be so grounded? Or even Gemini? Would it believe in a higher meaning, the meaning of life? Or would it just have a mentality that's life is just whatever we contribute to it? You know, so it's much different styles.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Thinking about those two in Aries or Gemini, totally different feel.
Yeah.
Jupiter in Capricorn is something else too.
Oh man, it's supposed to be falling, isn't it?
You have that.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, in general, it's supposed to be like, here's your expansiveness, and then let's put it in the Capricorn box and put a structure around it. Like, you can't expand too much.
It's like the policeman, isn't it? Yeah. It's not the most, it's not really gonna, it's to take the straight and narrow, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That style, Capricorn.
But do you think you can flip the script on it? Like,
always.
I do too. You understand it, and it might be hard whenever you're a child or a teen or in your early 20s. Yeah. But once you understand the whole astrology language and the system, you can break the chains of it and just flip the script and be like, absolutely, this works for me. I love
doing that as well. As long as there's Mercury involved, you can do that. You always have always have a choice to change up and flip the script. And Uranus, the higher octave of Mercury as well, always. So absolutely, because Jupiter trines my Mercury as well. So, and Jupiter is a chameleon. Jupiter was a chameleon as well. It's got chameleon energy, so it can basically take on the guise of so many different entities, different animals, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jupiter Sagittarius is the ultimate chameleon, dealing with some serious chameleon energy right there. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you feel about, seeing as we're tying in with religion and beliefs, what about this strict ethical moral code and the concept of, drum roll, sinning?
Oh, the sins.
Oh yeah.
Oh geez.
Good choice of expression.
Do you think? Go ahead.
No.
No, keep asking, because that's broad. You know, sometimes so my Mercury is ruled by, Mercury is ruled by Jupiter. Yeah. And so when I start thinking of things, I just get the whole thing pops up, and I'm like, where do I go with this? So ask me another question on that.
Definitely. You said you've got a Sun-Jupiter fusion as well, yeah? So the Jupiter being your guru, the part of you that's expansive, and your Sun, your core sense of you, things that you do that make you feel centered. What I was going to say was Jupiter can do too much as well, and it can have a sort of higher authority. Do you kind of look down on sinners, do badders?
No, and this is why. I mean, okay, I want to be completely honest. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm being completely honest, because I do love transparency. The reason why I say no is because I grew up being a sinner. I couldn't do anything right. In the eyes of God, it was like fire and brimstone church. And it may not have had this effect on the other kids that went there, but for me, I was always being told what I was doing wrong. And so when I matured out of that, I was a fucking rebel because of it. And then when I matured out of it, I was like, no, this is not right. This is backwards. I'm not the sinner that they're telling me I am. So no, when people sin, when people quote unquote sin, I have compassion and I look at it for what it is. Like, we're here to be human. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I do believe there is a part of me, I do believe there's a right order to things. And that could be like my Virgo coming in. But no, I don't demonize.
Love that. We could do with much more of that in this life. Cool. How do you feel about planets? So the planets being the symbols of parts of the psyche, they do things, you know, the signs are the how, the houses are the where, the planets are the what is happening, what is taking place in the psyche, what experience is being gained, or what sort of processes are taking place. How do you feel about the different symbols, which are the planets in that ninth house?
Oh, in the ninth house, I feel like they're channels for energy. And I don't think whoever made up this language, I don't think anyone left anything out. Like, I think it's a full spectrum. Everything is there.
Yeah. Wholesome, right?
Yes. So yeah, when other planets are there, it's just a different expression of a channel of your psyche.
Love that. I mean, even seeing the whole zodiac in itself is a bit of a ninth house construct in itself, isn't it? Just seeing seeing the whole cosmos just confined down into that circle with all the wiggly lines and numbers, what have you.
Totally. Yeah, ninth house is totally astrology too.
Yeah. It's interesting because let's say someone's about to be born, that wheel constantly keeps spinning, that goes by the name of the natal chart. And it's sort of like Wheel of Fortune, and there's dice, you roll the dice. Where's it gonna land, and when? Okay, so it lands at the time of birth, at that said location, the wheel stops. And let's say that dice, which the dice lands in the ninth house, and that's a planet. So we've got that dice, which is Mars. Yeah, we've got the Mars dice. So the Mars dice lands in the ninth house at that person's time of birth. What can we expect? Can we expect a crusader, some sort of warring angel or something? The Archangel Michael comes to mind of the Bible as a good embodiment of that Mars in ninth house. And then you've got Uranus, the rebel as well. Antichrist vibes, maybe the devil. And then you've got Saturn in the ninth house, the strict moral compass, God of the Bible. So it can play out in so many ways. And this is not to say that anyone with Uranus in the ninth house is Antichrist, because obviously with higher education, these are usually the prodigies. These are the people that go to Harvard or go to Oxford at a younger age than anticipated. You see what I mean? So, and then they've left university at the age of 15 or something like that. So it can play out in so many different ways, but that's my recollection or my knowledge of these different symbols, different planets landing in that particular house.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have any sentiments on the various planets in that ninth house, how they act, or what they're there to gather, or symbols of embodiment?
Right. No, not off the top of my head, but like whenever you were saying that, I was like, how would Venus act in the ninth house? She she would love things that had to do with the ninth house, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just the most simple expression of that. Love travel. Like that would be one. Yeah, it would be cool to explore all of the planets and all of the houses. I guess we could just keep meeting and
I have no problem with
explore
that.
them all.
No problem with that at all. No problem. And it's funny that you tied in, because I'm not lying. That was another synchronized moment as well, because I also thought Venus. And when you said Venus, I was like,
oh,
is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it? Is she gonna mention Eve and Lilith? Woo!
Oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That story is, it's deep.
Yeah, it is deep.
The living myth.
It is. But then Neptune as well. You know, Neptune being in there is quite interesting as well, because I could see someone with strong Neptune in the ninth house. When you merge that symbol, that transcendence, that archetype, that symbol of yearning and bliss. Let's say if someone had that Neptune making a conversation with someone's moon or sun or Venus, something that they need or get pleasure from. This person's got to be careful not to be seduced by some pseudo wisdom or, you know, a guru who just comes along and says, I can making all these promises, you know, and they get seduced, not literally, but seduced into falling for the scheme, and then I'm disappointed.
Yeah, that critical thinking, the Gemini side.
Yeah.
Got to balance it out.
Yeah.
There's also a huge hang up, especially with Capricorn in ninth house, with receiving certificates, taking classes.
Okay.
Getting proof that I did it and that I'm smart or whatever. That's definitely been a hang up for me in my life.
Tell me more. Because
that's just it. Like for astrology, for example, I'll tell you this. Even college, I tried college. I dipped out because I was young and I was going through a lot. And then what happens with a sun in ninth, at least for me, everyone said, oh, you should have finished college. Why did you do that? And then I start feeling guilty. Well, gosh, I should have. I'm not right. I'm not as smart as I could be if I just had, finished the 4 years or whatever. Or astrology. I'm not certified in astrology, but I've been studying it for 13 years. I know it doesn't matter. And really what it comes down to is, what do you want? But when you go through this kind of immature struggle at first, it can feel very daunting. It's like, well, I need the certification. And then you realize, no, you're perfect just the way you are, especially when you've done the work.
Absolutely.
You don't need someone above you saying, yes, good job, you did it, here's your stamp.
Yeah. Pat on the back. And it's a rejected construct anyway. It's a rejected construct. I mean, and this is another thing that ties into, man, this is what I mean, it relates to everything. I feel like we've got the best job in the world, it ties into everything, every and any single thing. What you said is so important, because from the degree to the accreditation as well, because that's where the self-love comes in, or your value or sense of self-worth. And
totally.
once you have that, you don't need to keep going around saying, oh, I went to Kepler College or London School of Astrology. But me, I say I went London School of Astrology. I'm really proud because of the people that I met, how it basically sealed a lot of the holes in the knowledge. I never knew. There was once upon a time where I felt this is so going to be so Sagittarian of me to say this. I felt like an iPod surrounded by Walkman, in the sense that, seriously, Melissa, seriously, because no disrespect to my peers or those close, but I couldn't find people to really express or relate to what I'm passionate about, these studies that I'm passionate about, spirituality, just transcending the mundane, you know?
Yes. And that's the benefit of these schools. Like, I think you should be proud of yourself for going.
Yeah,
because that's where you find your tribe.
Yeah, Professor Xavier's School of X-Men, mutants, right? Yeah.
So good.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, just taking classes, like, I think that as long as it's balanced for someone like me, where it's like my life is my PhD, where I'm just like, and I'm going to learn this because I want to, and I'm like creating my whole course.
Love it.
And it's so good. But then that Capricorn is like, did you do good enough?
And that Virgo, right?
And the Virgo. Damn.
Not easy.
The earth signs.
Not easy. Speaking of that, sometimes I do wish I had a lot of Taurus.
Yeah.
To just stay on it and see the journey through, to see the value of a lot of things that I didn't complete, similar to you and your degree, you know. So I feel like maybe if we did a whole ninth house remix of what you just said, life is full of little degrees. Life is full of degrees in everything that we do. We don't all finish them. Some of them we do finish, and some of them we do get that pat on the back or say, here's what you've done. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to you, how you feel about it. People have the accreditation. What do they do with it? Some people drop out of school or don't finish their degrees. They're highly established, doing well, you know, enjoying the fruits of doing it their own way, like Frank Sinatra. So
yeah, it's so personal. And the minute you try to put it in a box and make it the same for everyone, is that's just where it all falls apart. It doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. See, so have you being such a, you're definitely a ninth house native, you know, you accept that award, right?
Yes.
So
do you know what's funny? Can I tell you something funny about me?
Go for it. Here she goes.
Okay. Every time I leave my house, my family makes fun of me because I always have a backpack.
Student lads.
I'm like, this is the school of life, and I have a backpack. But I don't, like, I've never like consciously thought about it, but I was thinking about Sagittarius in the ninth house today, and I'm like, I fucking carry a backpack everywhere. And it has everything that I might need just in case I get stranded somewhere. Or in case, like, if I didn't have a family and I just wanted to go fly somewhere really quick, I would probably be able to do that too.
Man.
But isn't that funny?
Yeah.
The backpack's always ready.
I just had a little flashback in my head of Kanye West doing a rap video. He's, you know, the whole rap wearing their backpacks and everything. But yeah, 100%. I'll do it too. Must be a Sag thing. Must be a Sag ninth house thing. You know?
Yeah, I just want to, it's like I want to be, and it's not a lot of stuff. It's like, well, let me just tell you what's in the bag. Vitamins.
Virgo.
Books, at least one or two. A journal. And then, you know, my wallet and like a phone charger.
Oh yeah,
chapstick.
Man.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you're definitely ninth house-ish.
Yeah.
100%. Well, it's better than carrying some crusty supermarket bag everywhere, isn't it? As well.
The bag lady.
If it's any consolation.
Oh my God.
I need to get a shisha stick too. CPD. But yeah. Would you give any other mottos or quotes that would tie into the ninth house as well?
I don't have any quotes off the top of my head, but to me, it's like what it comes down to is mindset. Like having a broad mindset.
Yeah.
As long as everything else is in place and in order, like you were saying about the Neptune, Neptune can really screw with you if you haven't grounded that in some way. But the mindset is everything in life.
Everything?
Everything. No?
Oh, that's for another one. I'm sure.
Oh, come on. What are you gonna say?
I'm sure the Scorpios, the Cancers, the Pisceans, the 4th, 8th, and 12th are gonna have something to say about that.
Okay.
Because the feeling.
I'll take it. Put us on a panel.
Yeah. Man, I wish I had an iPhone. We could do this Clubhouse thing right now.
Hold on, though. Let's dig into this for a second.
Yeah, because the feeling.
What you think is what you become.
Yeah. Yeah. Indisputable.
Or maybe what I think is what I become. That's fine. As a man thinketh, so shall he be. You know, any gender. You know, so yeah. I was just saying, not everything has to say it's the only thing. You know, but yeah, I get you. That's just the Virgo me being an asshole. I understand completely.
So what about unsuccessfully navigating? You've got successfully navigating and unsuccessfully. How do you do it wrong? The 9th house. Is there a wrong? I mean, you're gonna learn either way.
Mm-hmm.
But what also helps? I know it's all about the mindset, but what also helps? What other things could help someone who's having trouble if they've got planets in the 9th house, for example, Pluto or Saturn, and they're having that transit that's coming up? That's like, oh, Pluto's on my moon in the 9th house, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so let me think about this. How do you do it wrong? I feel like following someone else's lead is doing it wrong. So it's like the opposite of embodying it and accepting the fact that it's you. Like, absolutely. If you're seeking for something outside of you, like God, even though it is outside of you, but it's also inside of you. But if you're not aware of your connection to that, and your relationship to it, then you're cut off from the wholesome aspect, the successful navigation of that sign or of that house.
Love that. I hope I didn't get you to remix what you said before, because
wait,
you handled that. No, you handled that well. Amazing. Handled that definitely well.
Sometimes I don't know what I'm saying.
No, you do. You definitely do. And you said it absolutely well. So yeah, the ninth house is an interesting one. I feel, especially with education as well, because with it being a house that ties into higher education, you also get, you see, my background, African background, so used to uncles, parents saying, study hard in school so that you can get to university, and you need to go to university so that you can get a degree and get a job. If you don't get a degree, you do not get a job. Another model of preconditioning that, you know, has had me and other people inquiring about it, you know. And like you said about not completing college, you ended up all right. And that's another scenario as well. That's where we just inquire about these so-called principles or so-called fixed statements or fixed models of behavior, you know. But when we're
the dogma too.
Keyword, buzzword there, dogma. Because
what is that? It's like worshiping the structure rather than the essence and the actual embodiment, right? Like we already touched on it.
Yeah. Without without objectivity, isn't it? You know,
it's like worshiping the church rather than realizing it's in yourself. Would you say?
Hell
Is that
yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So, ninth house.
It's my favorite house.
I can tell. I can tell. I've learned a lot, you know, and yeah, you could tell you're a native. Naturally, you just like, here it is, ninth house, you know. So thanks for that.
Mm-hmm. Anytime.
Yeah, you know, these talks, me and you talk anyway, you know, we've got so many lost tapes,
Totally.
lost planets or lost episodes, whatever you want to call it, you know. So there will be more, and love that. Thanks so much. And where can people find you, Melissa, or get in touch for your readings or healing services online? Or wow.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram _Melissa Lago.
Nice.
And that's where you can find me.
Nice.
Yep.
And myself, you can catch me on Instagram, Man of the Houses, facebook.com/Man of the Houses as well. So yeah, it's been real. It's been real in the field, the ninth house field, of all the ninth house feels. Love it. So now thanks for your time on that one, you know. So
yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. This was really fun.